welcome back to the Gyrl podcast, everyone. I am Kyra, and today I am joined by Hannah Pillow. She is host of Refreshingly Human, and also she is here today to talk to us about overcoming social anxiety. So, welcome, Hannah, to the Gyrl podcast.
Hi, Kyra, and thank you for having me. I'm so excited about the show.
Yes. So, well, let's go ahead and get started. Before we dive into our conversation, I'd love for you to tell the audience about your journey and a little bit about how social anxiety has, affected your life, and then you go into helping others to overcome it as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that you start with the journey there because that's what it is, right? With social
Yes.
anxiety, it's such a journey. And I was actually thinking about this earlier today when I was out on my walk, and I was just thinking like, oh, what am I going to say on the show today? But it's, if I have to like backtrack all the way to my childhood, nobody is born with social anxiety. We're not born with it,
Yeah.
from the young age of like 0 to maybe 6 or 7, we're very much kind of living with our unconscious mind, very active at that age. We're not really so conscious about our conscious mind at that time. So we might be a lot more confident, we might be a lot more free. And I know for me that was my journey. I was an open kid. I was very confident. Talked a lot. I like to say that exactly as I am now is how I used to be before I was, before the world hit me. And then I guess like a lot of events happened in my life slowly. And this is the thing with something like anxiety or social anxiety, it kind of creeps up on you over a period of time. It's not like with my experience, it wasn't like just one thing that was like bang and like, oh, all of a sudden I have anxiety. It was it was a build up of like so many things. And I guess, of course, the first one for me was when I was 6 years old. I lost my dad. And that special relationship between a daughter and a dad is just something else, right?
Yeah.
And contrary to what a lot of people believe, some like a lot of people say to me, or they think out loud, and they say that, oh, you were 6, you probably don't remember your dad because you were so young. Contrary to that, I actually remember my dad really, really well, and I have so many fond memories of him. And I actually am very conscious of the effect that his death had on me after that. And so of course one of them would be anxiety, because if you lose something that's supposed to be with you forever, you don't think you're going to lose your parents unless they're like really old, right? Because you think you're going to have them in your life forever. So to lose something that you think is so permanent in your life at such a young age, it triggers a distrust in, I guess, in the universe to begin with. You're kind of like on edge all the time, like something bad is always going to happen, because the worst thing just happened to you.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would imagine too, there's the feelings of like why, and what can happen, what's going to happen next, or you just sort of leaves you like feeling unbalanced,
Totally. Makes you kind of feel like, if that happened, what else is going to happen to me? You kind of you're very much shaken up at that stage. And the big question, why, why, what now? There's so many questions that come about with that.
So for people that may not know, what does social anxiety, what does it look like?
So I'm going to just skip ahead to my journey to where actually like social anxiety started to creep into my life and what it looks like. So in the cultural setting that I grew up in, there's a lot of things that were said to me while I was growing up. And I believe like a lot of us might have this, we might have these noises in the background saying things to us that unconsciously kind of log into your brain. And it's kind of like, for me, the messages I was getting were, you too loud, you too rowdy, you too, you're not you're not woman ladylike enough, you're not,
Mhm.
you're not
Mhm.
cultured enough. And like these were the subliminal, well, not subliminal, they're quite blatant, but these were the
Right.
messages I was
Yeah.
getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that, for me personally, it really started to trigger the social anxiety. And for me, where it stemmed from was the idea of what people think of me.
Mm. Mhm.
And that's, I think, is such a powerful,
Yeah.
that statement can have so much of power over you. So
Mhm.
when you say, what does social anxiety look like? Well, personally, what social anxiety looked like for me was going out with a group of people, say a group of friends, even if it's like a really good group of friends that I love.
Mhm.
It's thinking, what are they thinking about me? Did I
Mm.
say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? And if I did do something supposedly wrong, I would
Right.
beat myself up for days about it. And I know,
Mm.
so I've moved from several countries. So I moved from South Africa to
Mhm.
Istanbul, and then I moved here to Manchester in the UK, where I currently am.
Mhm.
And the social anxiety kind of like followed me along with, into all the countries. Packed it in my suitcase and took it with me.
You were like, "Come on, social anxiety. We're moving."
We're moving, get in the suitcase.
I mean, I know we're laughing about it, which I appreciate you having really being open and so honest about it. But like you said, as you move to different friend groups, did you
Mhm.
continue to carry that sort of baggage with you and almost have to? Did you have those same feelings every time?
Absolutely the same thoughts, the same feelings. And when it became a true problem, like for some reason, when I was in Istanbul, it wasn't like a huge problem. I guess I was just having too much of fun there. But when I came to Manchester, it started to be, I guess, like when I came to Manchester, it was kind of like that, oh, I'm settling down now because I got married. And, it was like, oh, I'm settling down now. I'm a grown up now. So,
Uh-huh.
so then I was like trying to make solid connections because that's the type of person I am.
Hmm.
I'm not one to, be artificial with anyone. I like to form solid bonds. But when you have social anxiety, forming those bonds are
Right.
100 times worse and
Hmm.
more difficult than it is without the anxiety. I met up with some really amazing people earlier on in my life in Manchester, but I had such a distrust in both myself and in other people that
Right.
it took me a long time to realize that these people are truly my friends. They didn't have an
Hmm.
agenda against me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will say it also took some therapy, but I can get into that in a little bit. But it did take
Okay.
therapy as well.
Your relationship with your husband when you met him, did you carry some of that over into, distrust for
Oh
him
yes.
until, okay, how, what did that look like in
Yeah.
your relationship and how did you get past it?
That is such a good question, Kyra. Like seriously, the
Mm-hmm.
social anxiety with my current husband actually stemmed from my relationship with my ex-husband. So I've been married twice.
Okay.
And I think a lot of people who might be listening to this might be able to relate that when you leave a long-term toxic relationship, you carry a lot with
Mm-hmm.
you into the next relationship. So I had a lot of triggers
Mm-hmm.
when it came to my current husband, and I would find myself like catastrophizing little things with him. So it's like I see that he's doing something really tiny, like, or not doing something really tiny that I felt like he should be doing. And then in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, I'd be like, oh, this is going to happen in the long run, and this is going to be a disaster, and this
Yeah.
marriage is going to go to shit. And I was just like, I just spiral out of control. And it was like that for a while in the
Mhm.
beginning of the relationship, but after, I guess, like, for me, what really helped with my current husband is that we do have a very solid ground as a
Mhm.
relationship, and we also have very open communication between each other.
Mhm.
And that was the thing that helped the most, because we actually have this system in our relationship where, touch on wood, we've never screamed at each other. We've never like gotten verbally screaming or abusive with each other. When one of us gets mad, we've actually, without even talking about it, formed the system that if one of us is mad, we leave the other person alone until they calm. And we talk about it when they're ready. And that just kind of came into place in our relationship. And it works for us so well, because it makes my home, our home, feel so peaceful. And then I feel safe in this home. And I think
Yes.
that feeling safe is the best thing for social anxiety, is that
Mm-hmm.
you feel safe in your own home. And for me, that was the first part of my healing journey, is to find a home that I felt safe in.
Right. That's great. And your and kudos to your husband for just understanding and being open to and understanding what you were going through, and that not taking it personally.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of times people, would internalize that to be like, oh, maybe he's the one, it's like flipped, and he's the one saying, oh my God, it's gonna go to shit. But through you having that system of open communication, which I think for any relationship is key. I love that you guys just, if someone's upset, you just like, let's take a break. Yeah, let's take a break. Let's take a break.
I mean, some people say that, like, oh, never go to bed angry with your spouse. But you know what? I disagree. If you need to cool down, cool down. Don't shout at them just to get your anger off your chest. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Process it. And in the morning, you'll be in a much better place to talk about it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, because it's so interesting. Like, when it comes, for me personally, when it comes to like my personality, is I'm somebody who I want to fix things fast, right? I want to, if there's a disagreement, I want to go ahead and talk about it. I want to go ahead and get it out. Let's just fix it, whatever, move on. My husband's the opposite. He's the opposite. And I see this, it's so funny because like my sister and my husband, like they're both, their birthdays are probably like 10 days apart. They're both like Capricorns. And they are both very similar in the sense of like, if they're upset or we've had a disagreement, they may not want to talk about it. They want to go off. And I used to be this with them, I would try and fix it and go, no, let's just talk about it. Let's go ahead and get it out. And then they would be getting more upset, as I was trying to I'm like, no, I'm just like, I just want you to hear my side. And just, they were like, I want to talk about it. Like, I just want to talk about it. And so now with both of them, with my husband, either way, like if I sense that, if we've had a disagreement about something, then I just come and sit and let him have his time. And even though on the inside, like it is killing me, it is literally like on the inside, I'm just like, I mean, we could just go ahead and talk about it, because I already know, like, we could fix, but now I've just learned to take a step back. And then when he's ready, he comes and we have a discussion, or sometimes it's something that may have seemed big to me, but for him, he's like, well, it wasn't really anything. That's what I was telling you.
Just had a crap day.
yeah, like it was like nothing. I told you it was nothing, but I like that, and I think that's a really good idea. And I do agree with you. Like, if you have to go to bed and maybe not mad, but maybe just in a disagreement for the night, to just calm down. Like, yeah, I agree. You should just go to sleep.
To it. In my last marriage, I could not go to sleep. Like you, I was actually what you said reminded me of my past self. Like, I could not go to sleep if I was angry with my ex-husband. Like, I would toss and turn all night.
Yeah.
But with my current husband, even if we had a disagreement or if I'm angry with him, I'm like, damn, I need to sleep.
Yeah.
I just switch off.
Yeah. Now I'm like, I'll see you in the morning.
Right. And I think that comes from a sense of security with your partner, because you know that you're going to resolve this, and it's not going to be like the end of the world if we don't resolve it right now. So for me personally, that's because I'm so secure in that relationship.
Yeah. No, I can agree with that. I think that there's definitely a difference. Like, my husband and I have been married 16 years, and I think there definitely is a difference in how when we were younger and married early on, how we responded to things, how I responded to things, and now like at this stage, it's like if we have a fight, we have a fight. Like we disagree because guess what? We'll be here tomorrow. And we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. And it's not that feeling of, I think when you're younger, like new in your marriage, you feel like everything can lead to an end. So you're always like, wait, I didn't take trash out. What? And so you're always just like, you're always on like some sense of being on some type of like edge. And especially like when you're younger and you get married and you're not, but now like being older and just knowing each other for so long, so well, it's like, it's pretty easy. I know what you're thinking, but I'll let you go over there and sit it out.
Exactly. Yeah, it's so true. Wow, 16 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mine's is just, I mean, we've been married for 3 years, together for about 6 years, but I always tell him it seems like forever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, like this year, we are going into 21 years together and 17 married. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I've just been with you like forever at this point.
Amazing.
But
Amazing.
definitely want to see many, many more and many, many more. Wish many, many more for you and your husband as well.
Bless. Yeah. Oh my God. So I actually wanted to go back to my friends here in the UK, because I think
Okay.
that when we're talking about social anxiety, I always think about my current friend group and how it started and what that looked like for me,
Okay.
and how that transgressed to becoming one of the most solid foundations of a relationship in my life outside of my marriage.
Okay.
And yeah, so it started with like a group of ladies. We call ourselves the ladies. It's like it sounds like I'm in high school. We're a girl gang or something.
Nice.
Yeah, it started with.
Do you have matching jackets?
Oh gosh, I'm gonna get those totally,
Right.
with like the bling on the back.
Exactly. The ladies.
The ladies. Oh my God, I'm so doing that. But yeah, it started with the three of us, and
Mhm.
we started hanging out a lot together in the beginning, and they all are such amazing human beings. Like each one of them individually has just such amazing traits to them, and so like some of the most biggest hearted people I've ever met, and so pure and just so honest. But at the beginning, all I could think about was, am I the least liked person in this group? That was so important to me for some reason. Like, do they like me the least? Am I the least important person here? And I felt I made myself feel insignificant in that group with the thoughts that were coming up.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure if you can relate to this, Kara, but like women friendships tend to be a bit complicated because I feel like well, from my background, I come from a background where I've always been compared to other people, especially my female cousins. So I've always been compared to them in the standards of who's more intelligent, who's more beautiful, who's thinner.
Right.
And we've been compared in that way. And I kind of transferred that onto my friends. And I was like, I had so much in common with these girls. But in my head, I'm like, oh, she's got a better sense of style than me. Oh, she cooks better than me. Oh, she has more friends than me. And I was like tallying up all these things. And I started making myself feel like, well, they all better than me. And like, who am I at the end
Oh.
of the day? And I
Mhm.
really made myself feel really small. And I couldn't trust them and I couldn't trust myself, because I felt like they were competing with me, but nobody was. It was all in my
Right.
head.
Yeah.
you know and it really affected me to such a point that at some point I actually stopped wanting to go out. There was a long period in the UK where I just would spend endless weekends just not wanting to go anywhere and not wanting to do anything and just blocking people out.
Mm.
um and these friends stayed in my life throughout that. They didn't go anywhere, and they didn't like phase me out of the group or anything like that. In fact, what actually happened was they became more involved in my life.
Mhm.
And I remember one of the turning points was my first birthday with them. They went out of their way to plan a surprise party for me at our
Oh.
our local pub,
Mhm.
and they got decorations, and we even got the DJ to play my favorite music, which was very corny Britney Spears from the 90s. And I guess I was like so overwhelmed by that gesture from them,
Mhm.
that they did that for me, that I kind of decided that I wanted to work on my social anxiety,
Mhm.
because I realized that these people were valuable to me, and I didn't want to have these thoughts and feelings around them. I wanted to feel secure with them, and I wanted to
Right.
trust them, and I wanted to
Mhm.
trust myself. And so
Yeah.
I actually went into therapy for this, with this direct intention in my therapy, that I want to tackle these thoughts and feelings so I
Mhm.
can be secure in my relationships with these people.
Okay.
And I can tell you that the one thing that really began to help me to get over that was the statement that, well, not the statement, but just like the thought that, say we all go to a party, right?
Mhm.
Say you and I, bunch of people, we all at a party,
Mhm.
and everyone's having a good time. And at the end of the day, everyone's going home and everyone's having the same thoughts. They all thinking, what did I do? Did I say something wrong? Did I
Mhm.
do something wrong? But nobody's thinking about, oh, she did it. Oh, Hannah did this. No, everyone's not going home and thinking, oh, Hannah was,
Right.
she was the horrible person tonight. Oh, Hannah was like this. So
Mhm.
they all most probably thinking about themselves.
Mhm.
And this information really helped me to realize that, wait a second, let me step back from this
Mhm.
and let me think about, what did I think of the evening instead? Did I have a good
Mhm.
time?
Exactly.
Did
Yeah.
I make good connections?
Mhm.
Um, and then so I took it a step further after that. And with the people that I really value, and some of them who will be listening to this can actually can actually know that what I'm saying is true. But with
Uh-huh.
the people that I actually value and want to keep in my life, if they do say something to upset me,
Mhm.
and if I say something to upset them, we communicate.
Mhm.
We always communicate. So with that in mind, I no longer get this anxiety that, oh, what if I said something wrong? Because I have this open communication with these people where I'll go
Mhm.
back to them and I'll be like, did I say
Right.
something wrong? Can we talk about this?
Mhm.
And if you have people in your life that you have circles of people in your life that you can be so open and honest with, that social anxiety is going to melt away.
Mhm. Now, when you were when you first went into therapy, did you talk to your friends? Did you talk to the ladies about what you were experiencing and that you were going into therapy to work on it first?
So the thing is, we all did speak about what we thought. So we all had similar
Mhm.
thoughts and feelings,
Oh, wow.
uh,
Yeah.
which was interesting. So we all
Yes.
did speak about this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I did tell them that I was actually going to therapy to deal with it at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell them that, but we did openly speak about that. Oh, we
Okay.
were feeling insecure about so
Wow. Yeah.
this, or the other. Um, yeah, I guess I never went into too much details with them about like um
Mm-hmm.
what I was
Like,
thinking
right.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like that was something I needed to process on my own. I needed to
Mm-hmm.
understand it in my brain first before I could say it out loud to anyone, because I didn't even know where this jealousy was coming from, where this
Right.
comparing mentality was coming from. I had to like process it and understand it
Mm-hmm.
myself before I could say
Yeah.
out loud that, oh, I was jealous of you for X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
reason. But now I realized that that was unnecessary.
Right. Well, and also, like you said, you had to dig back into the past
Hmm.
at what happened to you when you were younger. Always being put in a position of comparison to other
Yeah.
cousins or people. So, of course, that would linger, and
Yeah.
you would carry that with you to think of like every time you're in a setting with women, that people are comparing, or and the unfortunate thing is that sometimes that is happening, right? Sometimes that is the case, but I think that I love that your friends and you have a really open
Mm-hmm.
relationship, that you're able to just talk about these things. I love that your friends were even experiencing some of the same things, and that you guys could just come together and
Mm-hmm.
say, like, but no, there's that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
It's such a liberating moment to realize that we all had the same fears, and then we like it kind of unified it, like, oh, we didn't have to fear that, we all were
exactly.
thinking these things, but we didn't have to fear it, and we didn't have to think this way.
Yeah.
And that was a really liberating moment. But I think definitely for me, communication and openness with the people I value
Mm-hmm.
is just so important for my peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And saying that there are people in my life that I can't be that open with. And I will say quite openly that those are not the best relationships in my life. And they are
Mm-hmm.
not, most likely not the relationships I place the most value on either, or spend a lot
Right.
of time on.
Yeah. But, there is also something, like you said, that's very liberating, even coming to that place
Mm-hmm.
in your life. I think, a lot of people, just from my personal experience and seeing, I think a lot of times people are working so hard to try and make relationships work, when there has to come a point in your life that you have to choose the people that are choosing you.
Yeah.
And
Well,
those are the relationships that you should place
yeah.
high.
Yeah, definitely you should place them high. And I think it's, yeah, people who are choosing you, but also people, for me, it's kind of about people who are seeing me. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a group of people in my life who look at me through the lenses they want to. So it's like what they
Mm-hmm.
want to see, what they want me to be. And then there's the people in my life who see me as I am.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the people who see me as I am are the ones I
Yeah.
hold true value for, because I can
Mm-hmm.
just be refreshingly
Yeah.
Hannah with them.
Exactly.
I don't have to hold back anything with them.
Yeah.
And the other people, I have to maybe be a bit more careful around them.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts a strain on the relationships.
Yes, that's understandable. Now, do you ever find yourself slipping back into, or having times
Mm.
where social anxiety creeps back in for you now?
Um, Not so much. No. Yeah, I think I've been quite lucky with my journey.
Mm-hmm.
In that the tools that I've gotten to deal with social anxiety, that even if something peaks in the door, I can catch it
Mm-hmm.
immediately, and I can be like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's process
Yeah.
this. Let's
Yes.
talk about this. And
Yeah.
so I guess it's like, for me, it's like developing the tools that work for you,
Mm-hmm.
well, that worked for me, that I could actually apply to my life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think like one of the biggest things I had to let go on, and it's something that's so much embedded in my culture, is the whole thing of what do people think of me?
Mm-hmm.
And the realization that what people actually think of you is not a reflection of who you are. It's more a reflection of who they are,
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
again, that's such a liberating thought to just
Yeah.
keep in your mind.
Yeah.
um because you know who you are truly. And I guess another thing that kind of definitely helped me is realizing, like, I grew up with this whole definite idea of a good person and a bad person. So,
Mm.
it's just like, oh, a person does this and they're automatically bad, and a
Mm.
person
Okay.
does that and they automatically good. And
Mm-hmm.
having those fears in your life, it kind of made me go through a long phase in my life where I was like, am I a bad person? Am I truly a bad person?
Mm.
And coming to that realization that, you know what, we all have good and bad in us. And
Mm-hmm.
it's about recognizing those parts in us and recognizing which parts are more dominant, and what
Mm-hmm.
do we value, not what other
Mm-hmm.
people say
Exactly.
they value as good and bad, but what do we value? What do I value? What is Hannah?
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
And just, I guess for me, it was like developing that confidence and that love and that trust with myself, Because if I couldn't do that for me, if I couldn't love myself, if I couldn't trust myself, I'm not going to trust or love anyone else.
Oh, for sure. That's,
Cliche, so
yeah.
cliche, but you know
No,
what?
but but it's so true. And you can never say it enough because there's still a lot of people that are struggling
Mm,
to do that. There's still a lot of people who struggle that don't know their triggers. I would definitely say like going into therapy and just recognizing triggers for me is what keeps me, like I'm like, okay, not gonna do that, because you start to recognize those things, and you're able to put them like to the side. And like, no, that, my therapist always says, just because you're invited to a party doesn't mean you need to attend it.
yeah.
I,
Yeah.
every time there's somebody that creeps up on one of the triggers, then I'm like, yep, invitation denied. Not going to go to that party today, because it is about like, it is about, for me, what gives me peace and what gives me balance, keeps me balanced personally. And I do agree with you, like just being your true like self. I'm pretty much a person that's like, hey, you either like me or you don't. I don't really care.
Mm,
I don't.
yeah.
I don't. I mean, I know that I'm a great person. I know I'm a good person. So it's like you can come on into this Kyra party, or you can sit on the outside and go to a different party. So, but I think what you said is it matters, and people can never hear enough about loving you first,
Hmm.
because it starts there. If you don't love you, then no one else can love you. You can't love anybody else if
Yeah.
there's not love for yourself.
It's so interesting. Like, it's actually, I think about a year ago or something that I came to the realization that I am a kick-ass person and I love my personality. And
Yes.
it was a really weird thing that made me realize that I love my personality. It was actually a TV show.
Mm.
Um, so I'm always attracted to the very big personalities on TV who have a bit of an edge. Like
Mm-hmm.
if I'm watching, let's give some common examples. If I'm watching Gossip Girl,
Mm-hmm.
I was attracted to Blair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
One Tree Hill, it was Sophia Bush.
Yes.
Brooke.
Yes. Yeah.
And then a very weird one was Bob's Burgers, Louise.
Oh my
Was
God. Yeah.
And what happened was, what my husband and I, we watch Bob's Burgers. We used to
Mm-hmm.
watch Bob's Burgers every evening before we go to bed. And one evening I was just like, damn, I wish Louise was my daughter. And my husband's like, you are Louise. And I was like, oh yeah, I am so awesome.
You just need some bunny ears.
I guess like sometimes we have to see it ourselves in
Mm-hmm.
something else to appreciate who we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, it's a different personality, it's an edgy personality, but it's not wrong.
No, not at all. And I like that. I like, because it comes with just embracing who you are.
Mm,
And I used to always say this to people, and they'd be like, "What?" I was like, "No, I just think I have a personality. It's where like either you really, really like me, or you're sort of like, I don't know." And they were like, "Wow." And I'm like, "Yeah, it can be that black and white. Either like, because I think that, I said I think I'm pretty funny." So I make a lot of jokes. I'm sarcastic, So I said, but at the same time, I'm also like, I have a good sense of humor. I like to laugh. I don't think that you should take life too serious, because it's like I told people at work, I'm like, we're not saving anybody's life today. Like, I'm not going to save a life. You're not going to save a life. So I'm not going to be in here stressing about things that I can't control. I'm just going to do my job. And, or it's just, I think it just comes with evolving as people, because it's like, whereas, when you're in environments and people are like tripping over themselves, like I see people tripping over themselves to like, see me, I'm the smartest in the room, I know all this stuff, and I'm just sort of like sitting back, like, I mean, observing, and then I'll give an answer when I feel like it. And I'm just not the type of person that I don't feel like I have to, like, I don't need to do all that. So if you can't see how fabulous this is, then you're just gonna miss out.
Totally. And exactly what you're saying, like, okay, you might, I'm just going to transfer that on to me, for example. So yeah, I
Okay.
also have like sarcastic sense of humor, a dark sense of humor. I love
Mhm.
sexual jokes. That's my thing.
Mhm.
You know? And yeah, I can have a very biting way of speaking to people. But and that's like the TV characters that I like are generally like
Mhm.
that as well. But on
Mhm.
the other hand, there's another side to it as well. So there's a side that, yeah, I'm edgy, I'm sarcastic, I like dark humor, but I can love people.
Mhm.
When I love someone, that love is just humongous, and the things I
Mhm.
would do for the people I love and the loyalty that I would have. So there's a
Yeah,
whole person there that has like
exactly.
so many things. You're not just one thing, it's
Exactly.
it's
Yep.
it's all those parts of you, and the people in your life who love you and who value you, they love all those parts of you.
Yep. Exactly. I agree. I agree. So, can you tell us about Refreshingly Human?
Yeah, of course. So yeah, Refreshingly Human is my podcast, and I'm so excited about it, because we are doing such an amazing season that's coming up in the next season once the current one's over, which is actually called All About Sex, and I'm so excited because that's like my thing.
No. I love it.
But basically, Refreshingly Human is a podcast to explore shared experiences and human connections. And I love to bust stereotypes and to,
Mhm.
like what people say we should be doing, and olden day sayings that we sticking on to, like going to bed angry, not going to
Mhm.
bed angry with your partner.
Mhm.
I love to bust those myths in conversation and through conversation. And the underlying thing is that I want to use stories to find that line of humanity, because I think when we can't see people, when we can't see the color of their skin, when we can't put a place to where they're from,
Mhm.
we lose all those stereotypes that we attach to people, and we can actually connect with them as a human being and
Mhm.
find that, oh, I relate to this person so much. And then maybe later on you're like, oh wait, they from a totally different background from me,
Mhm.
but they still have so much you can connect with
Right,
without
right.
focusing on all those differences.
Yes. I love that. And where can people find it?
Of course, so we are on Spotify, we are on iTunes, all the podcast platforms basically. And you can go to my website www.hannahpillow.com, and I'm on Instagram as Refreshingly Human Podcast and on Facebook as Refreshingly Human.
Awesome. So now we're at the point of the show where I like to do 5 things. So I like to ask 5 questions of the guest, sort of helps to understand a little bit deeper the inner workings of Hannah's mind.
Ooh.
So, first question is, how do you start your day?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I like to start my day with a cup of coffee because I do not function that. But actually, I have a solid skin routine. So that is actually how I start my day, is with my skin routine, which
Nice.
I actually developed in this whole lockdown situation. I
Uh-huh.
started buying like so many skin products. So skin routine, and a quiet cup of coffee, and too many daily planners to plan my entire day. Like seriously, more daily
Right.
planners than anyone needs. That's
Yes.
how I start my day.
I love that because I have too many planners and I'm like, well, this one's for this and this
Right?
one's for this. This one I use for like, other stuff. And my husband just always looks at me like, okay.
This is my daily planner. This is
Yeah,
my weekly planner. This is my weekly
yeah,
habits.
yeah. I'm like, this one's for the podcast. This one's for the business. This one is with my personal appointments. I got it, sir. I know what I need it for. Um,
Exactly.
what's a one positive affirmation that you speak to yourself?
I guess for me, it's I am capable and I deserve this.
Nice. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
I
good.
think that those are two things that are just strong for me to just keep reminding myself and
Hmm.
keeping that confidence and that belief in myself.
Okay, awesome. I like it. What's a one goal that you set for 2021?
Ooh. Yeah, I've got some really wild goals that I set because I believe in
Yeah.
shooting for the stars. So I guess one of them is
Girl, kindred spirit, because I always say I shoot for the moon, and I'll land among the stars.
exactly. But I guess one of them is COVID depending because because I really
Mhm,
want to give a TED talk. That's one of my dreams.
mhm.
But that's COVID depending, honestly. I'm not doing it online. I need to be in person on that stage.
Yes.
And another goal is that I'm aiming to get on a specific podcast that I've had my eye on for a while, and I'm gonna get in this year. That is my goal.
All right, girl. I like it. I like those are I love those goals, and I love that you dream big because that's important.
Definitely. I
Definitely.
mean, I've got smaller ones that are probably easier to achieve, but
Yeah,
I like to keep the big picture in mind.
exactly. You got a vision, sister.
Yeah.
So what how do you like to unwind?
Wine.
Wine in your favorite shows, right?
Well, yeah, wine are my favorite shows, and definitely a long bubble bath, boiling hot, long bubble bath.
Nice. And lastly, how do you end the day?
Oh, well, usually with my husband in bed watching something and then just talking a whole lot of nonsense to him and falling off to sleep.
Yeah, you did. I mean, yeah, you sort of start talking random thoughts at night. Like
Right?
I always feel like sometimes my husband's like, go to sleep because you're asleep. It's like you are talking crazy. What you're saying makes no sense. Go to bed. And I'm like, I'm already in bed, but I wasn't asleep. I'm that person that's always like, I'm not asleep. I'm not asleep. I'm still
Right.
up.
I know. And then he's like, my husband says the same thing. Is like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, that doesn't make sense to you. That made perfect sense to me.
Exactly. I know what it meant. So you're just late because you're not catching it. So
Exactly. You just
no.
don't get it.
So I love that. Well, Hannah, this has been so great. Thank you for coming on and having this conversation and for your honesty and transparency regarding your journey with social anxiety because this was great.
Yeah, no worries. I love being refreshingly honest. It's part of my brand.
Yes. Well, I wish you all the success in 2021 and beyond. And definitely know that those goals are going to come true for you. And I hope that you will ping me and share as those things as you conquer those goals.
Oh, definitely. Thank you. And likewise, I wish you the best with your journey as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And guys, stay tuned. I'll be right back.